Democrats are shooting themselves in both feet and once in the backside for good measure. After losing control of the narrative and power, they are being forced to revert to what they are: a bunch of leftists who hate this country and who seek power in order to tell you how to live your life. Americans reject Democrats' reverse Midas touch. That's my focus in a short preamble. Democrats destroy everything they touch. You know this. It's their way. On the flip side, let's just state for the record that President Trump has mastered one of the most elementary concepts in American politics: listen to the will of the American people. The America Last coalition, dominated by Democrats, has a different agenda. They wish to acquire power so as to tell you what to do, often counter to your own best interests. The Department of Justice is exploring potential criminal charges against former officials from the U.S. Institute of Peace. They thought themselves entitled to their taxpayer-funded jobs. These people, folks, actually removed and destroyed internal and external door locks in an effort to keep their bosses out, the Trump administration. This created an illegal fire hazard. An official who talked with the Daily Caller also flagged the widespread distribution of internal flyers instructing USIP staff not to cooperate with the incoming Trump administration. Now think about that. This taxpayer-funded think tank claims it's above the will of the people and the president, the people elected to run the government. Not very American. Very Democrat, but not very American. As we've been telling you, leftists in what many think is a coordinated effort have begun torching Tesla dealerships. Not only is this good old-fashioned leftist terrorism, it's eco-terrorism. Every time one of these electric cars ignites, toxins are released into the atmosphere. These toxins are deadly to human beings. Only one congressional Democrat has condemned this terrorism. In fact, the Democrats have been consistent in their calls for violence every time America rejects their totalitarian ways.
I am truly here for very selfish reasons. Starting with, on March 29th, it's my birthday. And all I want to see happen on my birthday is for Elon to be taken down. Yes.
And who can forget these gems over the years as Democrats stoked division, chaos, and tumult, prompting their followers to hurt those of us who wouldn't surrender to leftist lunacy.
We've got to kill and confront that movement.
Madam President, I yield the floor, but clearly, this is a literally call to arms in our country.
If you see anybody from that cabinet in a restaurant, in a department store, at a gasoline station, you get out and you create a crowd and you push back on them.
You're in the arena, you got to be ready to take a punch. You got to be ready to throw a punch.
Let this moment radicalize you.
I will not yield. I will not flinch. I will defend the right to vote, our democracy against all enemies, foreign and, yes, domestic. The Republican Party today is dominated, driven, and intimidated by Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans. And that is a threat to this country.
Well, let me tell you something. I don't know the Puerto Rican that I know, or Puerto Rico, where I'm in my home state of Delaware. They're good, decent, honorable people. The only garbage I see floating out there is his supporters.
And what about the soft violence against our children and their futures? The front woman for Liberty Hangout TV caught up with kids on spring break. She asked the kids very simple questions. How many Supreme Court justices are there? One responded, "You mean like the FBI?" One young man said, "The Second Amendment was the right to vote." Another young lady said, "The shape of the Pentagon was a square." And my personal favorite was when one group of girls was asked who the colonists fought in the Revolutionary War. One clueless young person who said she was an elementary education major answered, "The Spanish?" If that isn't an indictment on the Department of Education, government, and the stupidity of turning over education to leftists, I don't know what is. As a result of all this failure, Americans have begun to drop all support for Democrats and their destruction of this country. As a result, leftists are horrified to learn that despite their efforts to lie to Americans through the biased press and the media, that Americans are learning the truth about Democrats anyway. Prominent Democrat pollster David Shor expressing shock during a podcast with New York Times columnist Ezra Klein at the growing trend of Gen Z voters becoming conservative. The poll taken from Atlas Intel showed that among voters 18 to 29 years of age, support for President Donald Trump climbed to 53%. The kids are figuring out, just like blacks, Latinos, gays, and other former Democrat constituencies, that a vote for a Democrat is a vote to destroy your life and the United States. It turns out the vast majority of Americans don't hate our nation the way Democrats do. So things are starting to look up. Americans aren't as stupid as Democrats have tried to make us through their efforts to push narrative over news or the dumbing down of our children through GovEd. Americans want to be America again, with all the stability, security, freedom, and prosperity that comes with that. As for the Democrats themselves, well, they've forgotten what it is to be an American. They despise you for rejecting them, and they are doubling down on violence, lies, and ignorance. Those same Democrats are quickly becoming the pariahs of this society that they deserve to be. You know, folks, I thank God for my wonderful wife, my kids, my country, the greatest nation ever. And Americans like you who believe in the truth, the Chris Salcedo Show will never stop fighting for you.
The Chris Salcedo Show, for the news you need to know.